So what we'll discuss is basic Linux commands within the terminal. And in that, we're going to talk about the file commands, the basics of file command. Uh, we'll get into root and the main thing what we'll learn is starting from list ls directory list or a file list, and as mentioned ls list of directories or list of files. And what you can see in white is files. What you could see with blue is directories. Now, there is another type of list, is a listing hidden files. And how we do that, we do ls-al. So these are hidden files. And based on our previous video, what I should remember is permissions, as discussed, the type of file, directories, the permission set, 3 permission sets, uh, the root, the date, time, and the file name. But besides this, what else? We will look into change directories, cd into directory. Uh, uh, Now, the command that I just used is clear. When I write clear, it just moves the commands all the way to the top, makes the terminal clean. And I'm able to scroll up and see all the other commands, which I will show it to you. Coming back to changing directories, cd, when we just use cd, it won't go anywhere because we're already in home directory. Let's say a list of directories or list of files, and we get into desktop. cd, change directory, desktop. That means we're getting into desktop. As you can see, our home directory or root directory changed to desktop directory. And once again, I'm able to write clear, which will clear the terminal that we can see. And if you scroll up, you'll be able to see the script that we previously wrote. And one of the things that we can do is, one of the things that we can do is cd desktop. We are already inside the desktop. And there is a command called pwd, present working directory, that tells us, okay, current directory is desktop. And there's another command, cd space ... which brings us back to wherever we were, our parent directory. So if the child directory is the desktop, the parent directory is the root. So ... brings us back 1. And as you can see, it is root, present working directory, and it says root. So we'll clear again, clear. Now, I'm moving forward. Uh, how do we, let's say, how do we create a directory? That is a good question. To make a directory, we need to write mkdir, make directory, that's what it stands for, and write the directory name. Let's write iPhone. Make a directory called iPhone. And we write ls again. And as you can see, we have an iPhone directory. And we're able to make a file as well. Now, how do we make a file? We make a file by writing touch. Now the file's name, Samsung or Android. Android, touch Android, ls, and there is Android file and directory. Now you may be wondering what is a directory and what's a file. File is a place where you're able to write a text or a script. The definition of file definition of a file is a chunk of data that contains information such as text or binary data, like graphics and other audio files. However, this directory, as you can see, let's get into cd Android. We cannot get into a file because we can only read, write, and execute. There is nothing inside the file. Think now, the only difference between a file and a folder, the file and a directory, is directory, you could think of it as a folder where you have multiple files inside of it. And because of it, we're able to open up the file, the directory, cd iPhone. We are in the iPhone directory or iPhone folder, which you can call. And inside, we're able to create another file. Touch Android 2. Now list of directories and file Android 2. Now the only difference is we are checking the value inside the iPhone directory. And inside the iPhone directory, we created an Android 2 file. Now, moving forward. Now you may wonder, how do we delete the file or how do we delete the directory? Now let's write ls. Since we are in iPhone, we need to go back. How do we do that? cd, change directory, space dot dot, brings us back to one back. One step back, which is the root. And in there, we're able to write pwd, ls for list of directories, and we want to remove Android file. And to do that, we need to be extra careful. We write rm hyphen rf rm remove hyphen r is recursive, f is force, and a file name, Android. Now we could write ls again, and as you can see, there is no more Android. Now let's try to do the same thing, but remove iPhone directory. Now I'm able to bring up this the commands by clicking up and down arrow. With that, it saves me some time. Now remove hyphen r recursive force iPhone directory, enter, and as you can see, there is no iPhone directories. Now, you may be wondering what happened with the file that's inside the iPhone directory. Well, when you delete the directory, a file, everything that's inside will get deleted as well. So need to be extra careful with that. And there's another one way to remove, if you want to remove everything within the directory. Let's say I'll create a new directory, mkdir. We'll write, or yeah, mkdir. Let's write iPhone and cd into iPhone. Yeah, cd into iPhone. And we're able to create, let's say, 100 files. Touch, file name, let's say just call it a file, or and curly brackets 1, 2 dots, 100, and when we enter this, take a guess what it does. Okay, so it creates 100 files with the name ent1, ent2, ent3 files. Let's see how it looks. ent1, ent2, ent3, all the way up to ent100. Now, let's say you want to remove everything inside the iPhone directory. What we could do is rm hyphen rf star. When you put star, it removes everything inside the present directory, present working directory, which we are in iPhone, where there's 100 end files. Before we execute this, let's execute or let's remove. And everything that starts with and 9. So what this means is everything that starts with this and anything after 9 gets removed. Let's say this is true or false conditions. We can look at this. Does the file start with int? Yes. Does it have 9 and 9? Yes. And anything that's leading after that, like 98, 99, 98, 97, will get removed. If it is int 8, it will not consider it. It will only look at the value that matches int 9. Anything after that, or anything that matches this and after will get removed. Now let's see. Do you see int 99 or 98, 97, or even int 9? No. So those get removed. And rm-rf star removes everything. Unless it is empty. Now we go back, cd. Now we're in root. There's still iPhone. Let's remove rm-rf I, following the same command as we did, star. So anything that starts with I and leads with whatever will get removed, which is not what we want because there's a file that starts with an I as well. So let's have IP star. And it will remove anything that starts with IP star in the current working directory. Ls. Hopefully that is good. Now, moving forward, there's also a copy command. CP copy command. Let's clear CP, let's say desktop. Let's do desktop, copy desktop. What is there? Ls. Let's focus on file first. And copy what file? Okay, we go. Let's create a file. Touch ABC. Now there is ABC. Now we copy ABC to ABC. Now, what does that mean? We're just copying one into another. We're able to copy ABC into desktop. Now let's do this. Top. Now we copied file ABC into a desktop. We're gonna do ls desktop. As you can see, ABC is there. we use the absolute path with ls desktop while we were in the root. And we could follow the relative path by doing cd desktop and writing ls. As you can see, ABC file was copied. cd ls, we just created a duplicate file and a document. Now let's create a directory in here again, mkdir xzy xyz, and clear ls. As you can see, there's an xyz directory. Now we can copy directory into desktop, xyz into desktop. cd, no, cd copy xyz to desktop. Now it shows us -r is needed to omit the directory. Now this also helps us with if there is nothing with xyz directory, then it would create a directory and then save it inside the directory, inside desktop directory. Let's add -r and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This will save xyz in a desktop directory. cd ls desktop. As you can see, xyz was saved inside the desktop directory. Now, what I meant before is if we create, if we want to copy xyz into a directory that does not exist, let's say directory 5, then it will create a directory 5 and then save the xyz inside directory 5. No errors. And when we write ls, as you can see, we're able to create desktop 5. And we'll see the list of files within the desktop 5. Top 5. Well, I was wrong. cd desktop 5 ls. So when we copy xyz to a directory that is not there, then it just creates a directory. Then we're able to execute the same command. cd where the xyz would get saved inside desktop 5. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, Uh, there is another simple command called move. MV is to move. Now let's say we want to move ABC. Before we copied one file to a different place, we created a duplicate of the same file. Now we're planning to move this ABC into a desktop 5. It will get removed from the root directory. Now the command for move is mv once again, passing the value of ABC and then providing where it will be moved to. Desktop 5. Before we do this, let's do ls desktop 5. As you can see, there is XYZ only. And we do move ABC to desktop 5. ls desktop 5. Now, as you can see, there is ABC. And if we write ls, ABC was removed from the root. Okay. Now, these are the basic commands. Depending on how, yeah, depending on who. We could move forward with some other basic commands like cat, more than file, or yeah, which would get into specific file and then we're able to read it or even write it. Or we could also have more file. We could have head file or tail file, or ls-l file, list, long list. But these are the basic commands that we could familiarize ourselves with. And that's all.